Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, October 15th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also, if you trade Bitcoin, I'll do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol DJT. Talked about this one on Friday. In fact, drew out that little pattern right there, and you can see opening 30 minutes, broke up through the pattern, and the rest is history. Very, very impressive move, and big picture wise, the uptrend continues. So we'll just start afresh here and map out the new pattern. And the key level of this pattern, at least in my opinion, right up here around $30.25. Is it exact? It's not, but hopefully we can all agree that this general area here, you can see that the price has just struggled to build any sort of momentum from that area. Now, to be fair, I mean, it's built a lot of momentum throughout the course of the day. I'm just saying, as far as the question, where do the momentum seem to stop on the day? That is right up here around that area at, again, I'll just call it $30.25. So keep an eye on that as far as the resistance. And then as far as the support is concerned, level here that I want to get drawn out right there. Let me change that to green to represent support. And then also just turn this into one pattern here with the same color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upward move right here. For you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visually appealing. Put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because it's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards, but certainly would not be shocking or anything like that if the price were to come up here, break through that level, and then that break in and of itself creates more buying pressure, even if you just want to call that a self-fulfilling prophecy. So at the end of the day, the overall uptrend continues, and there is now a new bull pennant. Next one here, TVGN. Very, very eventful day on this one, and a very familiar pattern that we just talked about. So I want to go through this one a little quicker, try to respect your time as much as possible and not, just repeat myself totally. But just to map out the pattern, so we have that area up there at $1.25 as the key area of resistance. You can see rejected a couple times there, and then during this final 30 minutes was rejected. And then the bottom part of the pattern, you can see right here, got a nice little trend line. Can change that to green, and then let me just keep it one color here so we can make it easiest to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge explosion this morning, and then put the golf hole down here, and we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. I'd say the biggest difference here is just the price range happens to be down below that $10 mark, $5 mark, however you like to distinguish that. But overall, if this is more so your price range, but you do like bull pennants, here you go. Next one here, MARA, and it is it is the day of bull pennants, because that's exactly what we have here once again. So we have our resistance, we have our support down here. Now, all these bull pennants do not look exactly the same, but the psychology is the same. The psychology being big move up, and then it starts to consolidate out. So, again, let me change that to green, and then keep it all one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move up right there, a golf hole down here, we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. And there is a variety. This one is more of a multi-day bull pennant. The other ones were more so just bull pennants within the day itself. So this one was built over a couple of days, but at the end of the day, like I said, they are still bull pennants. So you got a good variety here if you're somebody that does like bull pennant patterns. Next one here, SOFI. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. We have this resistance portion of the pattern right there. And then the bottom part of the pattern. Whoops. Did not mean to draw it right there. We have that part of the pattern. Let me change that to support. And this would be a rising wedge pattern, which is actually a bearish pattern, which suggests a pullback. Now, before you freak out, I'm not saying pullback, and pullback does not mean that if this thing is going to crash all the way down here. That'd be a full-blown reversal. So there's a big difference between a pullback and a reversal. What I could see happening is this thing pulls back right there. But think about it. And I'm not saying that it'll go down that way, but let's say, in fact, let's make it go even a little further just to illustrate my point that more. So let's say it drops all the way there. From a big picture, so emphasis on big picture. From the big picture point of view, what would you still have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows down here. And if you envision each of those as stair steps, then overall, you'd still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upward direction. So a pullback is not a bad thing. It just means that, you know what, sometimes prices make such big moves that, yeah, some consolidation is needed. But also, to be fair, just like there's bullish patterns and something's bullish does not mean the price is for sure going to go up. Just because something's bearish does not mean for sure the price is going to go down. But if I were forced into a corner, I would say, yeah, SOFI probably going to need a pullback here within the next couple of days based on this rising wedge pattern. But big picture-wise, definitely a very nice overlooking chart. Next one here, Nvidia, and this is an example of a bearish pattern just not caring that it's bearish. Just was a rising wedge pattern that had formed, but you can see today just kicked the rising wedge pattern in the face and said, nope, we're going to keep on going up. So overall, that pattern has been destroyed, and we have ourselves, yeah, you guessed it, another bull pennant pattern. And this is one where you got to think a lot of people have drawn a trend line very similar to that, and I make that comment because when lots of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very nice movements, especially on a stock like Nvidia. I don't know of anybody that has not heard of Nvidia at this point. So well-observed stock, nicely defined pattern. Again, it just brings about that possibility of those self-fulfilling prophecies that much more. In terms of areas of support, let me put that line in right there, and then just to illustrate here the overall pattern. So resistance, support, new upwards move there, golf hole down here. Yeah, you got it. Another bull pennant. Real quick, I want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area on the webpage there you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, JTAI, and overall it's hanging in there. Was crazy a few days ago, but as of now, it's tried to start off the day strong, and it did start off the day strong, made a move up here, but you can see after that, kind of just pulled back, but no major crash or anything like that. But what I will say is that, yeah, a lot of people are still talking about this one, so it goes back to that whole idea of when a lot of people are talking about the same stock, and then if you can get a well-defined level, and at this point, I think this trend line right here is nothing complicated. I think a whole lot of people have drawn it, so once again, well talked about stock, very straightforward line to draw, self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, can produce some very dynamic movement. So if the price can come up here and break through that level, I think it's got a good chance to pick up some more momentum. So from a resistance standpoint, keep an eye on that trend line right there. From a support standpoint, best case scenario is it continues to hold above that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the 200 period moving average. But if the price does not hold above there, then I would definitely call the muscle level down here, that green line, which sits right at 0.077. So we'll see what happens as the week continues to play out. Next one, NIO. Very, very rough day on this one as it started off the week not very well at all. Now at end of the week, not so good either. But at least there had been the sideways action during the latter part of last week. But that's why I say that not a good start to the week. Not necessarily because it was red, but just from a technical standpoint, you can see the price ultimately did break to the downside of that pattern and then just picked up more downside pressure. So overall, like I said, pretty bearish start to things. As far as areas of support, very curious about that trend line right there. We'll see if that, I'm not going to say I have a high degree of confidence, but I'm very curious about it. And I would not be shocked at all if the price were to come down to that level and then get some sort of bounce off it. So definitely keep an eye on that downtrending trend line right there. From a support standpoint. And then resistance-wise, as far as I'm concerned, I think the main level, if there is any sort of attempted bounce right now, from a resistance standpoint, right up there around that $6 mark. So keep an eye on that with any sort of bigger bounce. But yeah, definitely not a good start to the week. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And overall, got a nice little movement off of the break of this trend line right here. Came up, broke through it, and got a little bit of a movement, but wasn't anything massive. I wouldn't call it that at all. So from a trading standpoint, yeah, maybe that yielded some good results. But really, and I'm just curious, where's the price at relative to this trend line? Is it below it? Okay, there we go. So once again, what was that? I think, was it JTAI that had that very, very well? Yeah, JTAI had a very well-defined level. And now Tesla, again, like Nvidia, Tesla, very, very well-known stock. So very well-known stock in combination with a very basic trend line. It doesn't really get any more basic than connecting a couple things like that. You got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle is watching that level saying, okay, Can the price break through it? Is it going to get rejected? So there's definitely a lot of trade plans that you got to think are being put together around that area. But just from an overall technical standpoint, that's certainly going to be the near-term area of resistance. Now, even if the price does break above there, I wouldn't get too excited because not that far away, you do have the purple line there, the 50-period moving average, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself downwards and get more and more relevant. So even if the price does break above there, it's still got to deal with the purple line. No, I mean, it could crush through both of those. So that's totally possible too. I'm just saying that even if it breaks that level, I wouldn't say the bulls are out of the woods yet. In terms of areas of support, have this level right here, 214.25, which has now made itself very, very apparent. You had both the bottom there and then the bottom right there. So if the price does come down there, it becomes a very valid question. Is this going to be some sort of triple bottom where it gets another nice bounce off of it? That's a totally valid scenario. So definitely a couple ways you could approach this, but always good when stocks, especially well-known stocks, have such well-defined levels and patterns. Next one here, ticker symbol RANI, and overall, very, very impressive move. And this is one of these situations where not a whole lot of, I mean, yeah, there's a setup right now. I mean, it was up here and the price is pulling back here a little bit, but I mean, that's only one candle. So, I mean, I could make an argument for there's some sort of bull flag, bull pennant. But the fact of the matter is this thing's essentially straight up right now. Now, did get the consolidation, which is good. But at the end of the day, as traders, what we ultimately care about is volatility and volume. And this thing has both of those. Very, very interesting late day here. And sometimes that's all that matters because all it takes is, tomorrow, if it pulls back a little bit more, you get a few more candles. Well, then at that point, it becomes a whole lot easier to make, a bull flag argument, which right there would be absolutely beautiful. But to be fair, I don't know, maybe this thing just continues to, break upwards. But just based on the nature of things and how strong this afternoon was, and when you look over here, there's just not any other sort of, areas that you can really make any judgments from. The main reason why this one is on the watch list is for those, going back to those two reasons. It has shown the ability to move very quickly, and it's getting good quality volume. So if this thing is just starting, then who knows? Maybe this is going to be a quick little pullback, and then, this uptrend continues on Tuesday. We'll see what happens. But if you like this price range, you like volume, you like volatility, well, I'd say keep an eye on it. Next one here, TQQQ, and all I can really say, and this will mean more to those of you that have watched the past videos, but finally, I know many of you are probably growing a little sick of me just talking about the pattern, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what the pattern has been over the past couple of days. The price just going sideways, 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 but finally got the breakup through the pattern, so the bulls rejoice, and the bulls ultimately did win this sideways battle, which, for those of you that watch videos, I did give the bulls the edge, which you would need to because, yes, it's sideways, but it was sideways occurring in an overall uptrend. So nonetheless, you'd want to err on the side of caution. And yeah, lo and behold, it worked out for the bull. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both of these levels. And I suppose how it started with the stocks is how it's going to end. Yeah, you guessed it. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. I can't remember the last time we've had this many bull pennants. But it is what it is. I mean, it was just a bull pennant type of day, I suppose. So resistance, support, upwards move there, golf hole down here. So once again, a little bit of a different bull pennant. This one was formed over the course of a couple of days, but it is still a bull pennant nonetheless. But in my mind, the biggest dynamic here was we finally got the answer to who is going to win that sideways battle, and the victory went to the bulls. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for you stock traders out there, again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it needs to be used, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, October 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. And it is a genuine live event, and I say that because there will be a question and answer session. So if you have questions, please bring them, and I'd be happy to answer them live for you. All right, one quick clarification here on Bitcoin. I am now on the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 4 hours, and that's because Bitcoin is open 24/7. So in the spirit of wanting to make this analysis last for as long as possible, be relevant for a long time, I like to just use this longer term time frame here. But overall, like I said, my main goal here is to just walk you through some questions, and based on how you answer those questions, that'll let you know where Bitcoin stands whenever you're watching this video. So I'm just going to assume you're watching this, 15, 20 hours after I upload it. But as I speak right now, it has been, it was a very, very impressive weekend. Started early on, bit of a pullback here, bull flag, and then boom. And that's essentially what we have right now, is another bull flag has happened. So really, it's just a question of what does this look like when you're watching this video several hours from now? Is there a pullback? If there is a pullback, then you'd have a bull flag pattern. And, just use this as your reference point, because there was the same exact situation, then it pulled back or went sideways. But that'll be the main thing, is if anyway it's just pulled back, totally healthy. Now, the one thing to be concerned about was if you have something that's like, well, Clay, actually I'm watching this in the price all the way down there. That's no longer a pullback. That's more so a borderline full-blown reversal. So that would be the main dynamic, is if there is a pullback, well, what kind? Is it nice and steady like this example over here? Or is it something where the price just really gets nasty and drops in quite the hurry? And then the flip side is saying, well, Clay, actually there hasn't been a pullback at all. I'm watching this and the price is now up here. Well, that would just be telling you that this current bull pull has gotten even bigger, and that would just be telling you that the bullish momentum is still in full effect. But anyway, look at it. Fantastic weekend. Has the opportunity to either continue with that upwards momentum or potentially build a bull pennant, bull flag pattern. But like I said, for those of you watching this 15, 20 hours from now, you're going to have a much better idea of what occurs. But like I said, that'll keep this relevant for as long as possible. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader to definitely get signed up for the free live class, because if you're, what you learn about in the class can and certainly should be used within the world of crypto and Bitcoin. So I mentioned earlier, it'll be later this week, Thursday, October 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And again, bring your questions. So thank you for watching. If you enjoy these top 10 videos, as always, hit that like button, leave a comment below. If you have a request for a chart, I can try to do that in a future video, but let me know down in the comment section. So thanks for watching. Go get signed up for that free class.